All right. How's it going, Chad?
Hey, Brian, it's going great. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. Your interest in the 38 challenge and helping us make a difference. So, Chad, if you don't mind, why don't you give a little introduction and tell everyone a little bit of your story.
Yeah, my name's Chad. I am an active duty Green Beret, and I'm with a special operations unit out in Fort Carson, Colorado. And I've been in the military now for just about 18 years, and all of that has been either trying to earn my Green Beret in the special operation or in the special forces qualification course, or as a Green Beret. So it's all I've known. I can't spell Army, but I can tell you a lot about SF. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been lucky to travel, and I've been lucky to be a part of some amazing teams and work in some amazing units.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, um, your mission outside of just helping people, with their mental and physical health, I think is truly inspiring. And when you first reached out to me, had no idea who you were, but talking to you a few times, I can tell you're a super genuine dude, making a true impact in this world, man. So we're happy to have you on today.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've been fortunate to work in the SOCOM Warrior Care Program for a number of years, assisting our wounded, ill, and injured. Um, my focus was from San Antonio Brooke Army Medical Center to Korea, and looking at all of the special operation units throughout. And a majority of that was that 10th group here, but it was worth it to be able to come back every day and know that I made some bit of a difference for guys' lives. A lot of in the mental and emotional spectrum. Physical, we do a really good job of. The mental and emotional. In the military, you have to stay fit, and you've got to, of course, stay fit if you're going to do 50 miles, which we'll talk about later. But
Absolutely.
the other part of that, which is even more important if you ask me, is the mental and emotional side of that. And the more that we understand working out mentally and emotionally is the same as the gym because it all feeds the same system, the better off we're going to be. For myself personally, I love to see our psychs. I go to our military family life counselor or MIFLIX to work out what's going on in my head, my heart, just to save everything. And then I go to our gym and do the same with our human performance and wellness coaches. And I've seen in the last few years by doing everything and being part of it all that I'm a better father, husband, human being. I'm better at my job because I understand what's going on a little more. And then when I'm able to understand what's going on with me now, I can process the me then that had the issues, whether it was from TBIs or just blasts or the day to day that I can talk about more if you'd like to. I can go into more depth.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah. Let's start from the beginning. So you said, which I think all veterans in one aspect, or all veterans in active duty, in some aspects, deal with mental and emotional health. So I guess if you want to talk about your struggles and maybe where those derive from and
Mhm.
TBIs, I think that'd be a great place to start.
Yeah. So for a couple of years, I was one of our breaching instructors, and I led that. And as a breaching instructor, you're eating charges. That's what we would say about being close to a charge is eating the charge. I was eating charges on a regular basis, and we would be at the minimum safe distance or MSD, and we would do that, but you would still feel those effects, just the way shock waves work and the way it hits your body and overpressure waves and everything to say that, just to keep it easy. After a while, that takes a toll, and that toll is one that's paid by your body. A lot of guys who were in, guys that are out, they've they've had their checks cashed when it comes to those physical tolls. TBI is one of the things that will silently take you on, or it'll take you at the first hit. Personally, for a few years, I was feeling it as an instructor. I would come home and I would not tell anybody, of course, because I wanted to stay out on the breaching pad, and I'd not remember getting home, or I would vomit, or I would just feel off. And that off feeling lasted for quite a while, to the point where I was actually concerned about myself. And I was able, when I left that job, to get looked at. The military has a lot of amazing facilities whether they're at Walter Reed, Brooke Army Medical, outstations to say a lot of your major medical facilities now, the one thing they really care about is TBI, mental, emotional, because that's the way the Army and the DoD is pushing, because humans are more important than hardware. And for me personally, I found that going to the Warrior Recovery Center here and speaking to our doctors and going through and seeing what was going on with me and understanding that sometimes it's me, sometimes it's things that have happened to me that cause these things. And it's okay. It's not something that I have to wear as a scarlet letter or be ashamed of. More, I should just say, okay, this is who I am. I need to work with what I have. It'd be the same if you have an amputee. That amputee, and I've worked with a lot of amputees in my job at the Warrior Care Program.
Hmm.
That amputee is going to have that moment of, I don't have that appendage anymore. That's not fair. What do I do? But I have to keep going and go forward. To me, Martin Luther King said it best, always forward. And that's truly how we need to be. And that's how we have to assess ourselves. And mental and emotional is a big part of that with TBI to say, okay, yeah, um, I'm not the same person I was when I came in the military, but the military is doing their best job at making me the best me I can be. I understand that I do this job in the defense of our country, and I understand that there'll be times where things will affect me a little more. Sometimes mentally, emotions will arise that I won't understand. I have a 5-month-old baby girl. So around here I play, I cry sometimes just how emotionally amazing it is to have this little person who looks at me and I'm like, oh, that's my little you. I love this. Um,
Absolutely.
um, and other times it's like I'll fly off the handle or I'll get upset at work and it's like, well, why am I doing that? And thanks to the tools I was taught through our psych team and our MIFLET team, I know how to better handle myself, which translates beautifully to working out because I keep myself in a good state, physical good state. And if I understand that, then it turns into great. I can move on and continue going because I know that physically I had a problem. I've had some back issues, some neck issues. It happens with the job, but I know how to work through those and work around those or strengthen those things. Mentally and emotionally, it's the same thing. And now I'm luckily able to do more and I feel that I'm a better person. And I'm not saying this as a PSA for what the DoD does for mental and emotional, but they have at this unit done an amazing job. Now, can we do more? Absolutely, we can. That's where you come in, I honestly think, because someone like yourself and the amazing story that you can share with your brother and all that you're doing to go forward to assist with TBI and with mental and emotional, because they are fully linked. TBI and your emotions are fully linked. The more that those
Absolutely.
are, brought forward and said, it's okay. It's okay to have this. It's okay to understand that you need to see somebody because we all do. If you have an impingement in your shoulder or if you have arthritis up and down your neck like I do, it's okay to go see someone for that. Then it should be okay to go see somebody for what's happening in here and up here. It's the same thing. But a lot of times we'll use bravado and, just a little bit of ego gets in our way and it really stops us. But the more that we come out of the last 20 years of the global war on terror, the more we're going to see that we're not the only one with these issues. And that if we just say, I can go see someone say something and it'll make me a better person, um, I think that'll be a great help. I can't speak for the military because I'm speaking for me, but I understand for myself that I know I'm going to continue to seek these services, not saying that there's something wrong with me, saying that this makes me a better person.
Absolutely. And I think that a couple of things. One, I mean, that's a great way to think about it. I mess up my shoulder. I go get rehab, and I work
Yeah.
every day to get better at and better at it. But when when you're dealing with mental health struggles, you think there's something wrong with you. You think that
Yeah.
you're weak or that you're less than a man or you're not mentally tough, and that's just simply not the case because what you all do for this country is you put yourself voluntarily into these circumstances that physically alter your health and understanding that what you're doing is for the sacrifice of this country and that in my opinion there's nothing stronger for a man to do than like yourself sharing about his mental struggles and sharing about the things that he's been through and then getting help on that because, like you said, there's people depending on you. This country depends on you. Your daughter depends on you. Your family depends on you. And it's we have to, in my opinion, it's more selfish to not get help. To it's weaker to not get help, than it is to go and do that.
I couldn't agree more. I will say though, I don't know the word weakness. I think we have to change that thought and the paradigm of what is strong and what is weak. Sometimes people are very
Absolutely.
strong and dealing with it on their own. Stoicism is a real thing, but there has to be a time where you reach out for a hand. There has to be a time where you're able to say, you know what, I can't do this myself. Now, um, I think the way to go about that is to have a community, a tribe, and that to be grounded in something else. Whether you have a faith in a higher power, I personally do, but if you have a faith in a higher power, that's great, because that gives you some kind of bedrock. Or if it's the faith between your brothers to your left and right, if it's that, and sisters, your brothers and sisters to your left and right, if that's what it is, that's great. As long as you have something, knowing that others count on you and you're accountable to them, because that makes you part of a family, makes you part of something more. And within the organization that I work in and others like me, that's the biggest part of it is we all want to be a part of this tribe, and we all want to have something in there that we own and we can give back. A lot of that is just ourselves, and it's our time, it's our attention, our care, and our compassion. And if we truly do care about one another, and if we're able to say, hey, all I can give you right now is time. What do you need to talk about? And just be there for those people, which honestly happens a lot. A lot for us, it happens while we're on the range, or we are in the gym, or we're just together. But a lot of it happens when we're going through something. Then we'll just share. Last year, I did a 50 miler, a Memorial Day, and it was to remember our fallen. And during that time, I took a change in my route and it ended up hurting me. And I went up this very tall hill. And the whole time I was running and I was just screaming the name Pat, Pat, a friend of mine who passed away in 2007. And Pat was someone I could always go to and just talk to. He was from Pittsburgh. He had that Pittsburgh attitude. And it was a lot of fun to just be with him in that moment because I had no one with me. But as I was running, I had Pat and I was just screaming. I was just going up the hill, Pat, Pat, Pat. But I needed that because I needed to have somebody with me, and I knew he was always there. Um, that's something that within this unit and others that you'll see a lot of. We're very closed off and very guarded until a little bit of a wall is let down, and we let you in, and then you're part of the family. We say, we'll call each other brother, sister. We'll say, I love you. We'll hug because once you go through these things, you're a part of that. But where that stops, though, is the mental emotional side at times will stop that, unfortunately, and we won't be able to be as open with that, and we won't give that extra time, which is what we need to do more of. Now I can only speak for me, but it's something that I know I try to do and my friends around me try to do. But I think if we can focus on that mental emotional side, I think we're going to be better off to understand how TBI and other things affect us as well, because if we don't know all that's going on up here, but we know something's not right and we can communicate that to someone else who we trust, they may be able to help us get the help we need because sometimes we can't get it ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And I think that there's a lot of research on PTSD. There's a lot of research on veteran suicide and inactive members, and there's research on TBI, but I think just there's still a gap. There's still a gap of 22 veterans a day who take their lives, and I mean that is a ridiculous stat.
Yeah.
It's a horrifying stat, and so there's a gap that still needs to be filled. I think that one, just continuing to do research into the brains of the fallen, and also like you're talking about, kind of destigmatizing, making talking about your emotions, about your mental health state, bringing that into light is going to be very empowering. And I think that that is how we start to kind of close that gap, so that people like my brother, who he's a macho Marine who is badass and everyone looks up to him as a superhero. How does someone like that talk about their mental health when they think that they um I mean, I can only speak for my brother's case, I think. And if I could talk to him again, and when I do talk to him again one day, I'll ask those questions. It's what was going through your mind, like like just that question, like when you're going through all this, like what made you to do that. And I think that he would say I didn't feel comfortable talking about what I was experiencing. And I think
Mhm.
that if people do, and this is your people like myself, just an average, regular Joe throughout the day, looking at someone like my brother, and if he were to come to me and say, you know, I've I have depression, I have anxiety, I have thoughts of suicide, like I would be like, dude, like let's talk about it, like let's go get you some help. But he just never had that experience. So I guess a question for you is, um, do you think we experience that, that you experienced that, in the forces and what you've experienced with I guess some of your other brothers, is that a problem? And you touched on a little bit, but how do we go about kind of narrowing that gap?
Yeah, it's a problem. Now I'll do a parallel. Prostate cancer. Prostate cancer was something that for the longest time we didn't want to talk about in men because it's a very, like they're gonna put a finger in your butt, they're gonna check out your prostate, they're gonna do these things. It's not the
Yeah,
greatest
for
thing.
sure, 100%.
You think like that. But now we're knowing that's a major killer of men. And it's because we don't track and treat or try to look at it, at the onset or as soon as we can notice it. So you have prostate cancer that just jumps in people. And it turns into, oh no, we lost another guy, we lost another guy, we lost another guy to prostate cancer, something that can be found and can be treated. Well, look at mental health. It's a bunch of macho guys that don't want to talk about it and don't want to talk about it. We lost another to mental health. But with mental health, it affects men, women, children. Everyone's affected by this. And if someone were to commit suicide, the ripple effects in that water are vast. Sadly, I have friends who have committed suicide. I have friends who have died in the line of duty. I feel those losses of differently. Um, the line of duty deaths, I understand they were doing the job. The suicide death, it's like that bullet or whatever took a little longer to get there. And it's like, what did I miss? And I start to think about those things. And it goes into communication and it goes into open conversation like this and like others where we can discuss that and we can say, I understand that there's something there and it's something there that may not understand all of it, but here's my part of it. Now, personally, a little more of my backstory to help explain why I'm so open to seeking treatment for myself is my dad died when I was 19. When I was 12, he got very sick. I started helping raise my sister. My sister's now very successful in counterterrorism herself, so it's kind of funny the family business we do.
Yeah,
Um, but when my
for
dad
sure.
passed when I was 19, I immediately went to mental health. I was like, I need to go to someone because when he was a young child, his father died, and he had a very abusive and horrible upbringing. So I didn't want to have that for myself, and I didn't want to carry around the emotional baggage and demons that he did, that he carried to the day he died, sadly. So I
Hmm.
went to mental health immediately and said, I don't want to be like that. How do I stop? And what can I do to change? And for about 6 to 8 months, I spoke about it. I worked through some things with a very good therapist, and I took that with me. When I got into the military a few years in, I started into yoga. I've been doing yoga since and meditation. Those things assist in me knowing who I am. And then when I found I needed more, well, I keep myself in a good state physically. I went through some things in my life that weren't great. So I went and sought help. So it's okay. Hey, let's go see those coaches again. Let's, sharpen that sword. Um, a very interesting individual I met, Neil Kamimura, who's a knife maker in Hawaii, has a very powerful story of this and a very powerful story of how he used knife making to help with his mental health and his demons. And I think for a lot of our guys, we got to find that outlet. Um, we got to find a way to communicate that out, and get that out of us. A lot of that comes in the form of physical training, or it comes in the form of shooting, or I also am a bow hunter and archery or running, hence another plug of 50 miles. But we have to find that tribe within and say, okay, I trust these people around me and open. And someone has to be the first. I believe it was Stanford did the dance study where they had someone at a concert doing silly dance. And it wasn't the first person, because that's easy. It's that second person who's the super brave one. And what we have to do is stand up and say, I'm Chad. I've sought mental help. I seek mental help, and I'll continue to do that because it makes me a better person. I understand that the military does more than enough to help me get back on track. And I understand that they keep going forward, but there's more I can do for me. And I'm going to do that because I want to be the best husband, father, teammate I can. And we got to do that one another. We have to say that it's okay. And I don't want it to be a pin ribbon awareness month. I want it to be a daily struggle. And I don't want to have the sign 22 held up to show that 22 prior service members kill themselves daily. That is a pandemic. And that is something that we need to take seriously. I've got people here that I give my life for without question. And they give their life for me. And where I'm going to say it's that, what will they do to save their own life if they have a mental and emotional problem and they need to go to somebody? They can come to me. I'll always listen. I've always been, they call the team mom, because I'll always love on my guys, hug them and tell them, hey, I love you. And I always make certain to say that. And if this gets out and someone hears this, know that I do love you. I do care for you. You know, I'm a Christian and I carry that with me. And I want you to know that I do love you. And I do that because we're both human beings. We're all trying to get through this. So if you need someone to talk to, we are out there. And if someone in special operations, me too. Big deal. Get help. Go talk to someone. Get someone who is your therapist, your psychologist, someone you trust, a loved one. Just talk. Getting it out helps. When I was 19 and my dad died and I started unpacking this, all I would do for an hour is talk and get it out. It helps. So whatever you need to do for that, do it. Part of the 50-mile that we're going to do, I have a psychologist coming with us. I have two physical therapists. I have a psychologist. Um, we'll have some other people from medical backgrounds that'll be there, whether it's special operations or others. And we are going to go through this because there's going to be times doing this 50 miles at 3 a.m. when it's dark, it's quiet, and you're in this dark, quiet place. You're going to talk. You're going to get it out. There's solace in suffering. There's solace in working through things together in hardship. And through that, we're all going to be better people, but we're also going to just open up of who we are. There'll be a time where you talk about your brother. I didn't know we were just going to bring something up that he did or something, and it's what it is. I'm going to bring up friends of mine. And I want that to be the thing, because if we can get it out there, we can get it out anywhere, because you're going to be tired, beat up, hungry, probably a little cold from sweating. And you're just going to look over and be like, yeah, there's this one time. That's how it starts. And then just let the conversation flow. But that's what we have to do. We have to give ourselves the moment of saying, and this happened to me. And just being
Yep,
open to hearing what others have to say.
absolutely. And that's, I myself am a Christian too, and just picking up some of your points, um, I wish that, I could tell my brother, dude, you like know how loved you are? Just one more time. And to your point, there's always people that love them. There's always people that are looking out for them. And that's one of our I when you talked about that, because I mean that's basically our mission at the 30-day challenge, to challenge people to it's where you talk about health. That was by far the hardest one to do, but it's something that I mainstream. And to, like you said, the only way that we start to reduce those numbers is to have people feel comfortable talking about things, but and that's completely fine. But my thought about it, about all this is, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to think you're not good enough for help. Like everyone uh, deserves the chance, and I openly talk about my God, and I couldn't say better myself. Um, and I'm excited for what we're going to be doing. Um, with the 50 miles. I'm excited to share my brother's story. I'm excited to hear your stories and the other warriors who serve this country and have served this country, and just talk, and start to get those conversations out there, and make it mainstream, make it comfortable. So, yeah, well, I guess it seems like a good segue. Why don't you tell us about some things you're doing with the 50 miler on 9/11, and I'm super blessed, super fortunate for you to invite me to that, and
Mhm.
I'm already looking forward to it, even though my knees might not be.
So it's 50 for the Fallen. Last year, the Special Forces Foundation took me on to do this, and for it was 10 hours and 45 minutes for me, but it was a good time, and it was a time for Memorial Day to actually remember those that had fallen and what had happened, and it was great. It was an amazing event. Now we're going to do it for 9/11 because this is the 20th anniversary, and for 20 years we've had the global war on terror. For 20 years we have been affected by this. 20 years is also a military career. You start, you can retire at 20 years. So there are people that joined up. I have friends that joined up September 10th, 2001. The next day was 9/11, not knowing what they were getting into. And they decided and continued to serve, joined into some very elite units, and made an amazing career. That needs to be heard, that needs to be said, and we need to understand what that has done for our country and who we are now as a country. Part of that is this 50 miles. We're going to start at Yankee Stadium. We're going to head around, head out of the Bronx into Brooklyn, head through Manhattan. And during that time, we will discuss via Instagram Live and other forums what this means to us, what this means for us, and how we go forward. Right now I'm looking to put Marines, Rangers, Navy SEALs, Green Berets together on this. We do this. We do this for our fallen, for our friends. I'm going to bring in the FDNY and other New York City organizations, the NYPD and others, to have them be a part of this. And just to know that for 50 miles, we're doing a little suffering and finding a little solace. And at the end of it, the people we do this with, we're all going to be a little bit better together. And it'll be something that, um, like I said, at 3 a.m., we're going to have conversations. 4 a.m., we're going to have conversations. As the sun's coming up, things are going to be said that affect us, and we're going to be able to talk about those things. And it may be one of the only times someone says something and gets it out that they never thought they would. Or someone will see this and be able to say, I relate, I understand. And the money from this will go back to the Gold Star families, families who lost someone on the line of duty. That money will be for them. And we'll work through those organizations, yours in particular, to make certain that that money is handled correctly. And we have some professional sports teams and organizations that are on board for this. And that money will go back 100% to those families. And we'll make that totally visible. You'll see where every dollar goes, but know that no matter what happens, where you decide to give, because I can't tell you, I'm I'm active duty, so I can't tell you where to give money, but I can tell you that if you'd like to, we'll give some organizations that you can donate to. But every penny will go to them. The biggest push of this will just say, we're here because this happened, and we're a part of us is from this, and it's okay. This 20 years, 9/11, a lot of the mental and emotional, the physical toll that's taken on our bodies and on our nation, it's okay to talk about that. It's okay if you're a school teacher, you're a nurse, and you were affected by it or COVID affected you. That's okay to talk about. That's another part of this. It's just okay. We just need to talk. We
Hmm.
need to open up those communication lines. So the 50 for the fallen, the big push of that is not the ruck. It's the communications that happen during that 50 miles. It's the communications that come from it, and the openness to say that it's okay. And 50 also, because I love Cool Hand Luke. Paul Newman ate 50 eggs, and that's where it started for me. When he said I could do 50 eggs, last year I said, well, I can walk 50 miles. That's fine. And it was an attention getter, and it was great. But it was a time where I had with myself and others throughout the nation who did it. The head of the UFC PI, Bo Sandoval, did it with his family in Las Vegas. Um, Big Chino down in Arizona, he did this. JP did this. It was a great time. We had others throughout. Brandon Lilly, who was a professional powerlifter and now is more of a guru yogi who I think of as a dear family friend. Brandon did this in Kentucky and others around. That we did as a community, and Brandon and I became stronger. Bo and I became amazing friends. JP and I are and will remain that way. And a lot of it was due to this and to say that, yeah, I'm going to give myself and do more. Ryan Mickler, who runs Order of Man podcast, he and his family, they have a 1 mile property in Maine. They walked the perimeter. Each family member had a section to do, and they all went through and walked those 50 miles because it wasn't about them, it was about others. And what's a little bit of time and sweat equity and remembrance and getting it out. And that was the best
Absolutely.
part of it. Going
Absolutely. Yeah.
forward, going forward, I'd love to have more. I would love to have more people be involved, i.e., while we're doing it in New York City. I would love for this to reach some of your friends and have this be championed, because this is something that's affected everybody. And it hasn't affected us all the same, but we can all talk about our experiences and we can all share.
Definitely. And, like I said, I'm incredibly honored to be a part of such an amazing cause. And, there's a whole lot of parallels. Our motto is, 38 minutes of suffering to help the warriors who protect us. And, another point um, to what you said, and the fact that, we'll be tired, we'll be exhausted, we'll be miserable in some points when we're doing these 50 miles, and that's the purpose of it. But what's beautiful to me in the thought is that that's exactly when you need to have those conversations. That's exactly when you need to reach out to someone, is when you are 40 miles deep into one of the hardest things you've done in your life. And 50 miles with a ruck, though, is going to be brutal, is nothing compared to mental health struggles and the feeling of being alone. And the fact that we're suffering with each other, I think, is another great thing to think about, and a huge parallel. Because, and for the 30-day challenge, when you're doing this workout, which is incredibly hard, and you want to quit, you want to give up, you suffer with other people. You're never suffering alone. You never do the workout by yourself. Never ruck 50 miles by yourself. You're doing it with others who love you. So that there's so many parallels to what we're doing with 38, what we're going to do with the 50 miler, and just how to get help with mental health. So I'm super excited, man. We're gonna push it, and I'm gonna get as many people as I can involved. And yeah, I mean, moving forward, it's gonna be awesome. And I seriously cannot wait to help some people with you. So
Uh, that's that's what it's about, right? I mean, we're supposed to be good to one another. So let's just do that and see what happens.
absolutely, brother. All right. Well, unless there's anything else you want to say, man, really appreciate your time. Like I said, I can't wait to develop this relationship with you, and learn more about you, and do some good for others. Help this country as much as we can.
I think it's a great way to end it, Brant.
Awesome. All right, Chad. Take care, brother.
I'll see you.